Zadon Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Electro Ninja's Lab. In today's video, we are going to be talking about The World Ends With You, one of my favorite video games coming from Square Enix, which, yeah, that's not surprising. But anyways, guys, since we have two videos today, I thought that I would make sure to actually get this video out finally. For those of you who are unaware, a while ago I promised that I wanted to make a video about The World Ends With You's anime and the new freaking game. Oh my gosh. So, for those of you who are unaware, not too long ago, well, actually, a little while ago, around the same time that The World Ends With You got released on Switch for the final remix, it was also announced that there would be a anime for this amazing game, which honestly is a bit insane. For those of you who are unaware, Square has kind of been in this weird situation for a while now, where they have many fans who are asking for things like anime adaptations or manga adaptations of many of their series. Obviously, we have the Kingdom Hearts mangas, which they are good, but they do have some problems. And now we have the Final Fantasy manga, which is a completely different situation, which, can I just say really quick, if you haven't watched that video, go watch it, but the Final Fantasy manga is amazing. Seriously, it's honestly one of the best ways that they could have chosen to create an actual Final Fantasy manga. Obviously, they've made movies and shows and stuff like that for Final Fantasies in the past, but this is one of their first real mangas, and it looks amazing. Honestly, I feel like the reason that they chose to create a World Ends With You anime first, instead of going with, say, Final Fantasy, making Final Fantasy Lost Stranger into an anime, or, say, the Kingdom Hearts series into an anime, is because of the fact that The World Ends With You is extremely popular. Like, obviously the others are pretty popular, but obviously Final Fantasy Lost Stranger, not as popular as many of the games, and Kingdom Hearts, it has a lot of things that you kind of have to really just depend and talk. The conversation with Disney is just going to take a long time, and that's why we haven't gotten a anime for Kingdom Hearts. More than likely, this is to test the waters to see how good they can do at an anime adaptation and the response to it. By giving us The World Ends With You in anime form, it means that they can then, from there, once they know for a fact that it works, they can then take other series, like I said, Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, Dragon Quest, maybe. I don't actually know if they would. Um, I'd personally be down to see a freaking Threads of Fate anime, but they could definitely take these concepts that they've worked hard and figured out how to do them in the World Ends With You anime, and then apply them to making these other series into anime adaptations. The fact is that they've been kind of experimenting with the whole anime and manga situation for years. If you guys don't actually know about this, frickin' the creator of both Soul Eater and Fire Force, yeah, he's doing these under Square. I'm pretty sure that they are actually producing them to a certain degree. Not as much as their other anime and manga, but they are helping him out to a certain degree. Like I said, it's a very small amount, so please do not think that I'm being serious, that it's really going to be a huge thing. But this has been their way of basically testing the waters if they want to go into this department. And now they are going to be testing the waters fully by creating for themselves an anime based off one of their games, which therefore means that if this show does well, even if it's not necessarily one of the top animes of the year, but at some level it does well. Fans are watching it, fans are loving it, fans talk about it in videos and stuff like that. It will gain a lot of traction and will mean that they can then start the work to actually start going into the more beloved series. The fact is that The World Ends With You is probably the most well suited for an anime adaptation, as it is kind of story driven. Unlike games like Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy, where many times you can actually go into a different direction than what you're supposed to, The World Ends With You, while it does contain still an open-ish world, it also allows for fans to it mostly has the fans going in a single direction, and they learn about these different things, and that's the good part about it. So yeah, the Reaper's game is probably the best option that they had for this series. So going forward with an anime adaptation of it, great idea. But on top of that, more recently, they have announced a freaking video game. Neo The World Ends With You, which is the second game, and I am so excited to play this game. It is, the fact is that The World Ends With You had a lot of problems. One of the biggest ones is the fact that you couldn't really control your character as much as many people wanted to. The whole touchscreen thing was a bit of a flop and many people didn't like it. And that drove a lot of people away from the game. But the game was still good. The story was good. The gameplay was decent. And, of course, the music. Can we talk about the music for a second? The music of The World Ends With You is so good. Like, I don't know of a single person that talks about The World Ends With You without mentioning the music, because every single song in there is well made, and most people love every single song that's on the original soundtrack. And it's amazing. It's perfect. It's the best option that they could have come up with. And so we have The World Ends With You getting a freaking getting to this point, and it's honestly amazing. It's great. It actually is really good to be able to see this series that many fans are falling in love with be able to get its own anime adaptation. And honestly, I think a lot of fans are absolutely going to love to see this series going into the next game as well. Now, I'm not 100% certain on all of the details with the new game, but for one, it's completely new cast of characters. The only ones that are the same are the Reapers and the Angels, as far as I'm aware. And even the Angels, there's going to be new ones, so, yeah. And obviously for the Reapers, there's also going to be new ones. It's basically a completely new cast, only bringing back a few characters who were pretty important, and honestly, it doesn't make sense to not have them. These are basically people who are good, but they're not necessarily, they're not perfect and stuff. So, yeah, needless to say, I'm looking forward to seeing how they're actually going to handle all of this. But the nice thing is that this game is looking very much better, turning more into an action RPG game. Honestly, I could see this game having more of a focus on actually using the buttons for the gameplay rather than using the tap screen feature, which, let's be honest, that was really challenging to actually do. Like, most of the time when I was playing the game, I would just be tapping the screen like constantly to blast off these attacks instead of using the different motions and shit, because a lot of those other motions that you had in your repertoire honestly rarely worked. So you had to work it out and figure out several different things in order to get the game to work. So by switching over to a new system, which what it looks like it's going to be is that more than likely when you're actually in combat, you will be taking your controller and you will be pressing the different buttons to launch off different attacks. I'm not exactly certain how exactly, but you'll moving around, obviously, with the main joystick, maybe selecting certain things, but it still feels like the gameplay, but it also feels like it's something new. And that is one of the most important things to deal with when transitioning to a new system. Take, for example, the amazing job that Level 5 did with Ni no Kuni 2. The fact is that Ni no Kuni 1 had a turn-based-ish system that not very many fans were very fond of, but they still loved the game in general. They took the different aspects, when going into Ni no Kuni 2, they took the different aspects that were already in the game and then adjusted them to then be now in the main game, allowing it to be a more action-based combat system that many fans, honestly, I think a lot of fans like a lot more than what we had originally. Obviously, there could be some things that would be better, but we're not going to be going into all of that now, because this isn't a video about Ni no Kuni. This is a video about The World Ends With You. And honestly, I'm really excited to see how they're actually going to go with this new game. The fact is that currently the only thing that we know for a fact of any release is that of the anime, which will be coming out in March. And I've put it in my calendar, and I am so excited to actually start watching this the day that it starts. And once it does, oh boy, you know I'm going to be making videos about it. So, yeah. And as for the video game, currently, like I said, we don't really know too much about it, but considering the fact that we are in a new system and or new generation, expect it to be soon, as they want to get those games out quickly. But anyways, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please make sure to leave a like, leave your thoughts and theories down in the comments below. If you are going to leave a theory, make sure to say theory review somewhere in your comment. And of course, if you are new and you just haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and ring that notification bell, because it really does help a lot more than you may think. And of course, if you do want to support the channel even more, then definitely head down to the description and check out all of our links down there, including our Patreon and ways that you can support us financially. Whoops, I meant to say that differently. But check out all of our links down there, including our Patreon, our merch store, and our social medias. And of course, also make sure to check out the other video that released just now as well, same time as this video, hopefully. Which is about My Hero Academia Vigilantes. So obviously, if you haven't read that, then don't watch that. But if you have, then definitely go check that out. And yeah, anyways, guys, I've been Electro Ninja. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time with Nerd Chat. But on.